say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, Patriots. Thank you for joining me tonight for this special report on the war that is happening right now, primarily with Israel against Iran. We're going to talk a little bit about how we got here and my personal beliefs and feelings on this. Many of you that have been watching my program for a long time, you already know what I'm going to say. We're also going to talk about the sad realities, once again, of the Democrat leadership and the rabbit hole that they just continue to go down supporting the wrong people. It really is a travesty how they're just imploding that party that I used to belong to. I used to be a proud member of the Democrat Party, and I'm glad I unasked it when I did, because it is on a runaway train to hell, and there's no recovering from it, especially after what I'm going to share with you tonight coming out of some of the leaders up in Washington, D.C. But first, let me tell you this. I have been calling for the total destruction of Iran since November 4th, 1979. And if you don't know what November 4th, 1979 is, write it down and Google it after tonight's show. So for 46 years, I've been screaming that the only way for peace in the Middle East is to eliminate Iran. They are responsible for the deaths of millions of innocent men, women, and children all across planet Earth. They are responsible for the deaths of thousands of my military brothers and sisters. When I served in Operation Desert Storm, we found some of the Iraqi equipment that they were using against us came from Iran. They started supporting the terrorist groups that were attacking us. Over in Afghanistan, many of the American service members that were killed and coalition members that were killed by weapons that were supplied by Iran to the Taliban. They are the number one sponsor of terrorism on planet Earth. I've said it many, many times since the inception of my podcast, live on this show even, and when I was the co-host of the radio show Real World Witness, that the only way for peace in the Middle East is the total destruction of a country. How sad is that? As a 4-time combat veteran, war should be the very last option as far as I'm concerned. You should try everything you possibly can to stop from sending troops into harm's way. But we have done that with Iran for 46 years under Republican and Democrat administrations. For 46 years, nothing that we have done has stopped Iran from continuing to march forward to wanting to wipe Israel off the face of the earth and kill Americans any way they possibly can. And of course, we all know today that they are the ones that supplied Hamas with all the weapons they needed to attack Israel. They continue to supply the weapons to attack many other different groups of Americans and Israelis and Westerners all across the nation. They are evil. Evil on a level that no other country is. Putting sanctions against them doesn't work. We've tried it. On Trump's first term as president, he froze every asset they had and cut them off like chopping the head off of a snake to stop them from having the money needed to support terrorism across the globe. Trump did that. Joe Biden came along and gave them billions of dollars, which went right back into their nuclear program to continue to build nuclear weapons. And that's how we got where we're at right now. I blame what Israel had to do to save themselves and Western civilization, for that matter, on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the incompetence that we all saw for 4 years unfold. They appeased everyone. They lifted all this frozen money and let Iran have it. The country that was responsible for killing thousands of American service members throughout the Middle East and has made no bones about it. Once they have a nuclear weapon, they were going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. So because of that, and because of knowing that they're working towards being able to build and launch a nuclear weapon, it could not happen. Donald Trump made that very clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And as I reported last night during the regular show, they were very close to it. And that's why this had to take place. Now, what I didn't know last night as I was doing the show, I was telling you this was going to happen. It was just a matter of moments now. It could be hours, it could be days before this war will kick off. I had no idea that it had already started. I was told by one of my moderators after the show that they had already mentioned it in the chat that, hey, it's already started, Doug. And I wasn't paying attention to the chat because I was talking to you all. But there I was telling you what's coming from my military sources and from knowledge of being in the military and knowing how things work, especially when you start removing families from military bases and from embassies. That was an obvious indication. And it had already started. And then, as we know, for years, Israel had been infiltrating Iran with people to find the targets, find the homes, the businesses of Iran's military leadership so they could be taken out on day one, and the exact locations of all the nuclear facilities and nuclear testing labs, armament, ICBM capabilities. And the first wave of attacks, that's what they did. They killed all of those evil bastards. Well, with what Iran had left, which was millions of drones. Well, probably not millions, but thousands. They launched a huge drone attack. And yes, Israel has the Iron Dome, but it's not designed to fight against drones. It's designed for missiles. So a lot of those drones got through and managed to get to their targets. A lot of places in Israel were hit. A lot of Israelis were injured. And some have died. Some are buried under rubble, and we don't know how many have died yet. Now, I'm very cautious about what I'm talking about tonight because, as those of you that follow my show on a regular basis, you know that I have personal friends that I've served with through the years that are in very high positions. You know, I retired and they continued on and their careers continued to flourish, and they went way past 20 years and 25 years and 30 years. And some of them are up there in rank, and they're in very high places in our U.S. military. And they've been sharing information with me about a lot of different military operations and things that I do share with you that I can. Some of the things that I was told not to talk about tonight, somehow it's been leaked out already to other mainstream media outlets like Fox News and CNN. They're reporting on this stuff. I don't know who's leaking it out, but somebody shared something with somebody, like maybe they, like they do with me, except I know what not to talk about, and I'm able to take that information and make sure that I'm not exposing it. So what I can tell you is that our military has been gearing up for this for a long time, even when Democrat members were in, even the 4 years that Biden and Harris were fucking around in the White House. We still had military members planning, as all administrations do, real world incidents with other countries across the globe. How are we going to react if they do this or they do that? What's our strategy? What's our targets? What do we need to take care of first? And of course, our doctrine is we take out their command and control immediately. And then you hit their supply lines. You hit their air capability, destroy their runways, their military bases, hit their main military control centers. So we have been, for years now, under both administrations, Democrat and Republican, preparing for what's going to happen when Israel finally says we can't sit back idle anymore. Everybody's been able to keep Israel at bay from doing what they have done now. And finally, enough information came out that they had, and they were able to prove that it's only now a matter of days before Iran is able to put a nuclear warhead on an ICBM and launch it at Israel and make the Holocaust look like a fireworks display and just destroy the entire country and kill everybody. And therefore, this had to be done. This is a regime that is said many, many times, death to America, death to Israel. That's what they want to see happen. They want to kill us. They are the copperhead snake, the rattlesnake. They're poisonous. Not their people per se. We don't have a problem with their people. We have a problem with their leadership and the way they interpret the Quran and their hatred towards the West. And when you got somebody saying I'm going to kill you once I have this capability of nuclear, and you're watching them through administration after administration, continuing to go to that level, there comes a point where you have to take action. And that's what took place. Now, it's far from over. Israel will continue to strike targets in Iran. But now, instead of the drones, they're still launching drones, but we find out where they're coming from and we go strike those areas and take them out. Now they're launching actual real missiles with conventional warheads into Tel Aviv. And so many that our military forces had to get actively involved. We had already set up in advance Patriot missile systems over there to intercept them. So we have our military forces on the ground in Israel that are firing those Patriot systems. A lot of the aircraft, in fact, damn near all of the aircraft that Israel's using were made right here by American companies, Boeing, Lockheed, and so forth. And then we have a huge naval force over there, and we're relocating others to that area as well to back up Israel. And we have had our military aircraft have to get actively involved last night to help shoot down some of these missiles. Now, Israel's military is only so big. Had we conducted this operation with them and maybe built a coalition and added like Britain to it and Canada to it, Saudi Arabia to it, Kuwait to it, Jordan, many of these other countries that do not want to see Iran get a nuclear weapon, then it could have been a shock and awe, way bigger than what it already was by just Israel doing it. And we could have took out everything. And this could be damn near over with by now. But Israel doesn't have enough firepower to do that in one swoop. But a coalition of a bunch of different nations could have done it. It could have been over with. But I assume we couldn't wait that long. So we will see U.S. Navy fighter aircraft. We already are seeing it involved. I'll leave it at that. You can see the reports that are happening on major news outlets. I'm not going to go there, even though they're saying it and talking about it, and say something that my friends aren't going to stop sharing stuff with me because I broke my code to them. But we have U.S. Air Force capability with bomber aircraft in numerous locations throughout the area. And President Trump has made it very clear that if Iran was to attack one of our military bases over there in the Middle East, then we will get actively involved, and actually America will start striking targets in Iran, which I wish we'd done this with a coalition, like I said, to start with. It made it a whole lot easier, a whole lot simpler. You're going to go to war. You know what's going to happen. You know you have to do it. All these countries know we have to stop Iran. Then, damn it, this should have been already in place. But I give them kudos for doing what they've done so far. Being proactive, but at the same time, America and Britain and Canada and different UK groups are standoff, waiting to see what Iran does. Iran does not believe that Israel is the only country involved. They believe that we all are. So I think that we will see them start attacking military forces in the Middle East. And then that will be the end of Iran. Whether or not they targeted the Ayatollah themselves, I don't know, but we do know they're still alive. That was the head of the snake. That should have been taken out immediately. I'm not there to make the plans. I can just tell you from my personal belief how it should have been conducted from my experiences and the way we've conducted wars in the past that I've been personally involved with and watched how it played out. Some of the stuff at the time I thought, this is stupid, or this is dumb, or why are we doing it this way? And then afterwards saw the bigger picture and went, aha, now that makes sense. And so I was able to figure all that out and piece it together. So as I went on in my military career and went to other deployments to combat zones, then it all made sense why you do what you do. In this case, it just appears they didn't have the time to do that. They had to go ahead and jump in there and take these strikes. So I want to stop for a second. I want to talk about two things. One is worst case scenario here. Iran being set back on its heels by Israel means that nothing is off the table for China and its military advances, according to foreign policy experts. The Chinese, they're losing their proxy, Iran. Iran has been accomplishing China's foreign policy goals for quite some time. And China's Middle East policy is now in disarray. Gaston Institute senior fellow Gordon Chang said yesterday, this is a point where China is suffering a terrible loss in the Middle East. They're not going to take it lying down. And it's probably going to get Iran or some other party to strike us. Overnight Friday, as we know, Israel did what they did. The negotiations, after 5 separate attempts to get them to stop this nuclear program, and they refused, you have to walk away, and they did. China was supporting the attacks on Israel across the board with elevated commodity purchases. Remember, China has taken more than 90% of Iran's exports of crude oil, but also weapons support. Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, all of them have large quantities of Chinese weapons that they're supplying to them to attack Israel. Iran's weapons are made with Chinese computer chips. President Donald Trump promised that Israel's next round of attacks on Iran would be even more brutal in a Truth Social post, pressuring Iran to come back to the negotiation table and let's be done with this. There's already been great death and destruction, but there's still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end, President Trump said. So the worst case scenario here is China comes to Iran's aid. That would not be good. That would not be good. I'll leave it at that. I want to share a few things with you about what's coming out of Washington, D.C. from the Democrat Party and Congress that is sickening and pathetic. We've already watched them over the past 4 years support Hamas terrorism over Israelis, over Israel. Members of our Congress going on college campuses and joining in the protesters that are shouting death to Israel and death to America. We've watched them buck against the ICE raids to get rid of horrible people that are in our country trying to kill us, bringing drugs over across the border, sex trafficking of women and children, murderers, rapists, taking their side, not our side, to get rid of them. That's a sickness. And now they're condemning us for having anything to do with Israel. They're condemning Israel for making this strike. How can I make this? Okay, there we go. Strong statement from Senator Jack Reed, the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee, against Israel's attack on Iran. Israel's alarming decision to launch airstrikes on Iran is a reckless escalation and risk igniting regional violence. Tonight, after Israel carried out large-scale strikes throughout Iran, U.S. Senator Jack Reed, Democrat, Rhode Island, the ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, issued the following statement. Israel's alarming decision to launch airstrikes on Iran is a reckless escalation, the risk igniting regional violence. These strikes threaten not only the lives of innocent civilians, but the stability of the entire Middle East and the safety of American citizens and forces. While tensions between Israel and Iran are real and complicated, military aggression of this scale is never the answer. I urge both nations to show immediate restraint, and I call on President Trump and our international partners to press for diplomatic de-escalation before this crisis spirals further out of control. President Trump must be crystal clear with the American people and the international community in charting a way forward. The world cannot afford more devastating conflict born of short-sighted violence. That is delusional. So we're supposed to sit back and continue negotiations that haven't worked for 46 years. Listen to them say, once we have this nuclear weapon program finished, we're killing you all. We're supposed to wait until then? When they launch nuclear weapons into Israel or into Europe or into America? We're supposed to sit back and wait for them to do that. And then it's okay to take action? You're a sitting member of our Congress, and you're clueless about what's been going on for the past 46 years and how no administration, Democrats or Republicans, have been able to control what Iran is doing. Terror across planet Earth on a scale that's never been seen before on planet Earth. Eliminating Iran brings peace to the world, you fucking idiot. And then this piece of shit speaks up. Both are liars. This is all planned. Israel says the U.S. was very closely involved, the U.S. denying involvement. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, you anti-American, pro-terrorist terrorist in our Congress. The Israeli government bombing Iran is a dangerous escalation that can lead to regional war. War criminal. Netanyahu will do anything to maintain his grip on power. We cannot let him drag our country into a war with Iran. Our government must stop funding and supporting this rogue genocidal regime. Once again, a Democrat member of Congress saying, do nothing. Let them go ahead and build their nuclear weapon and then launch it at us and kill us all. Of course, she thinks they're only going to kill Israelis and they're going to kill Israel. And that's what she wants. She wants Israel wiped off the face of the map, off the earth. She's made no bones about it. A sitting member of Congress has openly called for the destruction of Israel many, many times. If anyone doubts the Trump administration is a fascist government, right here shows us that our democracy is under attack. And then there's this terrorist. Just as talks of Iran were to resume, Netanyahu launches a strike and declares state of emergency. He is provoking a war Americans don't want. We should not allow ourselves to be dragged into yet another conflict against our will by a foreign leader pursuing his own agenda of death and destruction. They want to kill us, you crazy bitch, and Israel. But you support Hamas attacking Israel. You've made us all know, we're all aware of the crazy rhetoric that's come out of your mouth about how you feel, not only about Israel, but American veterans that fought in Somalia. You referred to us as the real terrorist when the operations went down over there. Remember the movie Black Hawk Down? That was Somalia. And in her mind, her own words, you can find it on YouTube, you can find it on Rumble, it's all over the internet, of her saying that the real terrorists that day were the Americans. And then the other crazy bitch comes out and says the president cannot circumvent congressional war powers and unilaterally send U.S. troops to war with Iran. This is a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution, which requires congressional approval to declare war. Nobody's declaring war, you dumbass. The American people do not want another endless war in the Middle East. It will cost lives and tear their families apart. You're right, we don't. We don't want another war in the Middle East. You got that part right. But if we don't stop Iran, they're going to fucking kill us. They've said that. Death to America over and over and over again. They're doing it even on our college campuses. And you called Trump a racist bigot because he stopped all Middle Easterns from coming to America to go on to our campuses because they're inciting violence. And we watch it play out. They're taking over universities and colleges and destroying property and chanting death to America. And you went and joined them along with Alejandro Omar and even AOC. I'm calling on the Department of Justice to put those, at least Alejandro Omar and Rashida Tlaib, in fucking jail. Now. Get rid of them. And then Republicans have the House and the Senate. Evict them from our Congress. You have the power to do that. You've already done it. We just watched you do it. You got rid of that last little lion piece of shit. I can't even think of his name right now, that he was a transvestite that lied about his resume, lied about everything in his campaign. He was just a babbling fucking idiot. When all the lies came out after he got elected, they finally banded together and evicted him from our Congress. What are you waiting on for these two terrorist supporters? What are you waiting on? Why are they not being apprehended tonight? Alejandro Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC are supporting terrorists. We watched them go to our universities and join these protesters that were chanting death to America and death to Israel. I will say again, I will be the first person to tell you, after going through 4 combat deployments, having personal friends lose their lives, come back missing body parts, suffering injuries myself that will be with me for life or until I'm dead, that war is the last straw. Try everything you possibly can before you ever send American troops into harm's way. But how many years do you have to do that? We've been doing it for 46 years with Iran. And they've told us, they've told the world what their goal is: to enrich uranium, to make a nuclear warhead, and wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And then Western civilization, their own words. And the more we monitor it, the more spies we send in there, the more we watch what they're doing, we finally realized they were just possibly days from having that capability. And the Democrat leadership up in Washington, D.C. are okay with that. Some of the shit I've seen on X, formerly Twitter, coming out of some of the Democrat members' mouths is just fucking mind-blowing. I believe it was either Cory Booker. I wish I had the tweet to show you right now. I don't have it up, but it was either Cory Booker or former Congressman Jamel Bowman. Might have been Hank Jefferson. One of those 3 tweeted out, why are we so against Iran having nuclear weapons, but yet we're okay with Israel having nuclear weapons? Too fucking stupid to know that Israel's not a nuclear power. They don't have nuclear weapons. And Israel's not saying if we get nuclear weapons, we're going to take country A, B, C, D, E, F, G and go through the alphabet because we don't like them and strike them with nuclear weapons and kill them all. Israelis just want to live in peace. Stop fucking with us. Since the Germans in World War II and the Holocaust, Israel has been fucked with constantly. And Iran is now the new Hitler. And these Democrat members of Congress can't see that. I mean, I don't expect any less considering what we watched them say for the last 4 years and support Antifa, support Black Lives Matter, the riots, the burning down of cities and towns and police stations and torching police cars and attacking police officers. They're all for that. They're supporting the riots in LA. They're blaming the Trump administration for bringing in the National Guard because the Democrat governor and the Democrat mayor refused to support ICE that was trying to help their city, rid them of horrible, evil people. So I don't expect any different. This is the typical thing for the Democrat Party today. Support everybody else but American citizens. If you're a member of the Democrat Party and you don't see this, there's something wrong with you. They're not even trying to hide it. Fuck. Something had to be done. Should have been done a long time ago. Should have been done. Should have been done after 1979. Or done in the 80s. Or done in the 90s. Or done in the early 2000s. We've had plenty of opportunities to stop this. But no administration, Democrat or Republican, had the balls to agree with Israel and say, let's take this, let's do this. Until now. When we finally got a leader in Washington, D.C., regardless of what you think of Donald Trump, no matter how stuck on stupid you are about the man, no matter how much Trump derangement syndrome you have, at least he's smart enough to realize that if something doesn't get done, millions of people are going to die due to nuclear weapons from Iran. There's so much I'd like to share with you that I can't because I'm not going to break my promises to my sources. But it's coming out in the mainstream media. So even Fox, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, they're all reporting on things they shouldn't be reporting on right now. They're sharing information that they shouldn't be sharing. I'm just waiting for some of the other stuff. Some of the stuff they're sharing right now, I was told, please, Doug, I'm going to tell you this, but keep it to yourself. Walk around it all you want. But these fucking mainstream media people are just throwing it out there, telling you everything we're doing and how we're doing it and where we're doing it and what groups are involved. They're going to be responsible for getting American service members killed. Because the bad guys like China and North Korea, Russia, Iran, the Hezbollah, Hamas, they're all listening. They all get the same channels we get, except it's translated into their language. We're telling them our war plans. I don't know how we stop that. I understand freedom of the press. I'm all for that. But there are some people in the press right now on both sides, Fox News, CNN, ABC, CBS, all of them are saying things they shouldn't be saying. They should just shut the fuck up and let President Trump and Israel and these other countries, some of them I mentioned a while ago, that do not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, just do their job and finish this and get it over with. I hope that the lives that are going to be lost are minimum. Wow. I don't want war. I don't know a combat veteran that does. But there comes a point when you have to. There comes a time where if you've done everything you possibly can to stop the bully from hurting you and your family and your friends, that you have to fucking beat the shit out of them. You just, that's the only way to stop them. And that's what's happening right now. That's my way of putting it together for you. The bully has to be stopped. And there will be casualties. And that's part of it, sadly. I don't plan on doing anything else about this over the weekend. I plan on trying to just spend time with my family and decompressing, because I got a lot on my mind and a lot of things have been shared with me that are really, really bothering me tonight. So just know that no matter what you're hearing out of the Democrat leadership, I support what Israel has done, and I support what our U.S. military is doing. And I support 100% the president and his military leadership, that they're going to do the right things and finish this. Get it over with. Get it over with now. Shock and all. Just finish it, so we don't have to go back and do it again. We should have done that after the first Gulf War, but we didn't. And lo and behold, if we didn't have to go back and more American service members get slaughtered, put through the grinder because of stupid leadership choices. I hope we don't do that this time. Iran needs to be eliminated. Not their people, but every military thing they have and their leadership decapitated and ended. Over with. Done. Stick a fork in it and finish it now. And then we're done. Wipe our hands clean. No more lives having to be lost over there than what's about to happen. Whatever you're doing this weekend, please be safe. Please make sure that those that you care about and those that you love know that you care about them and you love them. Please watch out for each other. Remember that we have people in this country right now, that were sent by Iran and other terrorist organizations that the Biden administration allowed into our country, that ICE and the FBI is trying to find because they're waiting to kill us. They're waiting to do another 9/11. We know that. The FBI's made they've not kept it shy. If you pay any attention to what they're saying, or you go to their websites and you pay attention to the people they are catching, there are evil people here in America waiting for the right time to kill us, thanks to Biden and Harris. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, and our blue and gold star families. May God be with you all, and may God be with all of you, the American patriots of this country, as we move forward and fight against evil, not just in foreign countries, but right here in our country, in our states, and in our United States Congress. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend.